for his career, he needs to go to Spurs. United will ruin him like they ruin every other incoming player. Well, that may be a fair claim. That may be a fair claim that you've got there. But we didn't ruin most of our signings we made last year in this new regime. Most of them played quite well and look quite promising. So if we have another season, maybe buying better players, but having equally as good success rate of those players, De Ligt and Maz and Yoro. Ugarte started coming into himself. Young Heaven looked brilliant when he made those appearances. But if we buy better players at the same success rate, then
wait, let me ask something. Let me ask something, and that's the Lawless in the chat. What's so attractive about Spurs all of a sudden? Because I swear, if we had a segment talking about Spurs right now, you'd all be making fun of them. It's just because we're having them in the same conversation as United. Now people are saying players should be going to Spurs. Are we just pretending that they didn't just sack a manager a couple of days ago and we don't know anything about their direction right now?
Listen, I agree. Spurs aren't like this super attractive club. What I've said is the attraction is Frank and Champions League football. That is what they've got. They've still got the issues with Daniel Levy running the club and how he runs the club. There's still a bit of a circus. It's not somewhere where you go and you say, that's a project that has legs and I'm going to, like, season on season, they've got a plan for growth. Like, they could always just fluctuate. So yeah, I'm not saying that Spurs have got that.
So here's the thing. If Spurs are so attractive, forget Mbeumo now for a second. How come I've heard no noise all transfer window about any big names going to Spurs? I heard Sané, who ended up going to Galatasaray. I'm hearing Jack Grealish, who, let's just be honest, he's probably washed anyways. He's not even going with Man City to the Club World Cup. What has the Champions League pool really done anything this summer? Please, I want anyone to...
Their management situation, they've only just got that sorted. They've only just got their new guy in, So
no, but I don't think it's down to the manager anyways. Because Ainge got sacked last Friday out of nowhere. Before that, we heard nothing. We heard more players getting confirmed to United and other teams before Spurs even sacked Ainge. We didn't even know that Ainge was getting sacked up until a week ago. So what's so attractive about Spurs and Champions League all of a sudden?
I just
want to know what changed. I'll tell you what changed. It's just that United's in the conversation.
Use
every opportunity possible to just try to shit on United. No, it's the truth, because no one was calling Spurs attractive. Now all of a sudden I'm hearing people in the chat trying to tell me, oh, but Spurs is attractive. No one was fucking saying that. Why?
I think they're just saying you're less attractive. I think that's what they're saying.
We're not less attractive because he's already picked us over Spurs. And I just can't believe what this really boils down to, like comments like this from MPD. They have Champions League football. They do. But they had Champions League football 10 days ago when he picked Man United. Newcastle have amazing owners compared to Tottenham. They're a better team than Tottenham. They have a better manager than Tottenham, a better squad than Tottenham. They have Champions League football and an amazing project, and he picked Man United over Newcastle. Arsenal are in a better position, have a better... I'm talking Tottenham here. Better position, better squad, better finances, better manager. The only thing they don't have is a better stadium, and Mbeumo picked us over them as well. So what this really is from rivals, and all you're going to see as a response is copium, or you're this or you're that. It's going to be ad hominem attacks and no debate, is all the rivals that's bums got hurt, like really sliced and diced and smashed 10 days ago when he chose United. They went from saying it was only for money. They were gutted at first. Then they pulled on the thread of it's only for money, when in fact United are only paying him the going rate for a player as good as him. And now what they have is the slight whiff, the little bit of an aroma of the opportunity to attack Man United, because so far this summer, last season's ended, the signing of Cunha rattles our rivals. Mbeumo in green to join rattles our rivals. So this is just an attempt. We've got a little window of opportunity here to attack Manchester United. That is all this is. That's all it is in the world. And look, Spurs, have a chance of hijacking this deal. I think it's more likely that we walk away and then they sign him than the player changing his mind. But that also could happen as well. But all you're witnessing, and the thing that people are laying their hat on is this, well, Thomas Frank's there now, it's changed things. There have been multiple sources, multiple stories that you can read from the beginning of April until the 30th of May. And I picked the 30th of May because that's before Mbeumo decided to join us, that highly and credibly link Thomas Frank to the Spurs job. Just go and do the research now. The articles are out there in that time period. There is no way, with Ange already having been sacked, because that was confirmed weeks before the final. We all knew he was going to go. The only thing that actually muddied the water is whether they'd changed their mind if he stayed. We all knew he was going. Thomas Frank's been one of the lead candidates this whole time. And Burmo knew there was a great chance that he was going there, and he still picked Man United.
You can't say he picked Man United if they made a move for him. They give him something. They haven't given him an option.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, I'm saying if Spurs haven't gone and made any contacts and made an approach for Mbeumo, they haven't given him the option to pick Spurs.
No. The point I'm making is 10 days ago when he rejected Tottenham, it was already widely published because go out. It's there. Just go and research the 1st of April until the 30th of May, and go and check all the articles, highly credible, of Anne's going to be sacked and how high Thomas Frank was on the agenda. I don't believe it's plausible that in all the conversations that Spurs had with Mbeumo when they made him an offer that he rejected, that the conversation with Thomas Frank didn't come up. In my opinion, it most certainly did. So this idea that he's woken up in shock, gone, oh my God, Tom, oh bloody hell, Frankie boy has joined Spurs. I'm going to reassess my life. That for me is so far-fetched.
What isn't far-fetched? Being official changes things, though. When it's official, it's different to this is something that we're strongly considering.
I don't necessarily think so. I felt all along, and I don't know about you lot, that Thomas Frank felt like a nailed-on deal. Last week when they sacked Big Ange, this was, I think, just before we got the here we go on the personal terms. We all sat here and spoke. And we were all saying Thomas Frank. Or maybe in the week before that, might have been 2 weeks ago. We all sat there and said those things. So suddenly now we're rewriting history. Like if we as football fans on the outside were all really convinced it would be Thomas Frank or highly likely, imagine what the word is internally within football. Let's be honest about this. How Spurs get him over Man United, for me, is if Man United can't come to a deal with Brentford. Outside of that, until I see the news, and this, I don't know if Staffy agrees with me, until I see the news from a credible source that his mind has changed or is starting to change, I'm just not going to panic.
I mean, listen, for someone to change his mind in 10 days, this is not Football Manager, okay? This just doesn't happen in 10 days. Let's just be a little bit less childish about this, please. He's agreed 10 days ago, verbally or whatever, to join a club. It seems like there was no issues with the personal terms at all. If anything, as you said there, I'm more concerned about my club rather than him. If he ends up going to Spurs because we don't pull off the deal and we don't pay the money that Brentford want to, but Spurs do, then I'm going to shake their hands and be like, congrats, you guys did what we didn't. It was on the clubs, and your club they behaved a little bit better than ours. That's it. Anything else, I mean, like, as I said, this is not FIFA. He's not going to change his mind in 10 days just so little kids can sit in the chat and banter on Twitter and all that. That's not going to happen. Honestly, it's ridiculous at this point. I don't know what people are even saying at this point.
Nicholas here says, Terry, you don't think it means nothing. Maybe Frank had spoken to him after he was confirmed. How would you know otherwise? Well, this is the point, Nicholas. I don't know otherwise, so I'm not panicking about it. If this news today from Sky and Ben Jacobs in separate reports said the player's mind is starting to change, or the player is now seriously reconsidering his options, I would be sitting here in a different frame of mind. But I am not going to panic about news that has not been confirmed. That doesn't make sense. So you could be right. I'm going by what we knew. And this is the problem with these two. Again, forget what you want to happen. Oh, you want United shat on. I hate United. Or you hate me and my opinions. If we were in a genuine debate with objective people, my argument wins. Because my argument is we knew about the Thomas Frank leaks very publicly. There are multiple articles for months making him one of the favorites, if not the favorite. There were heavy links of Ange being sacked. And if we know that on the outside of football, I think it's a very good assumption, a very credible assumption to say internally in football, this talk was also going on. So I believe when Mbeumo rejected Spurs, he had an idea at the very least, if not knew, that Thomas Frank could or would be the manager. That, for me, is provable based on the stories that were already published that we already knew about. What you're saying is Thomas Frank might have contacted him and changed his mind. Well, if Ben Jacobs and Sky knew that, along with everything else they've said, surely they would mention it. So, again, until it's mentioned, why would I be angry? Why would I be frustrated until it's confirmed? Please answer me that question. You weren't 100% that And would be sacked, though. Well, of course, I can't be 100% sure because I'm not in the boardroom. But we were told this during a Straight Fact show by Matt Law with LB and Dan Potts 2 months ago that irrespective of the results at the end of the season, he'd be sacked. That was the narrative from most outlets. Sorry?
Ange clearly thought he was staying when he was giving it the whole season 3 is better than season 2. So we all knew he didn't.
Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. That's it. But what I'm saying is, it was a very credible report from Matt Law saying that he would be gone irrespective of the results. I think winning the final created this murky water of will he or won't he. There was that massive report that Henry Wright got slaughtered for Nicholas. So Nicholas, this report came out about a week before Mbeumo made his decision, and Henry Wright got abuse online by Tottenham fans when he reacted to Spurs has been sacked and the announcement is coming soon. We went live with it too and got abuse. So when you say you weren't 100% that Anne would be sacked, I was in the 90% area based on multiple credible reports over 2 to 3 months. So this is the point you're making here. I'm basing my views and opinions on multiple credible stories, not fantasy land that based on what fans want to happen with no evidence. Again, if Sky Sports and Jacobs and Ornstein today said, or Matt Law, there's been conversations in the last 2 or 3 days in Mbeumo's mind starting to change, I would be, and Staffy, I think would agree with me, would be feeling very differently about this transfer at this point. But until those reports come out, why would I be angry about something that I don't know if it is even true, let alone happening? Yes. Don, welcome to the show, my friend. But thanks for the challenge there, Nicholas. Staffy, are you a fan of Mr. Who?
Mr. Iguana? I don't know who Mr. Iguana is.
That just sounds funny. That just sounds funny. What's that?
I think he's a wrestler. When you put his super chat back on, it's a guy looks like an iguana. That looked like a WWE event. I don't know. It might have been a part of that Mexican promotion that they did last week. So I don't know.
Is that what it is?
Look him up now. Mr. Iguana's crazy. What a name.
See who he is and what he looks like. You have to check him out. All us rivals want is for you to take it just as much as you dish it out, Terry. All these long-winded explanations is just deflection for us. 10 years ago, no one would ever have fathomed Spurs hijacking anything related to United. But when you say take it and dish it out, I've said that it could happen. I've said that they could take him off us. What I've also stated is there is no indication yet that the player's mind has been changed. And equally, when was the last time I come and ask questions? That's my job. But when was the last, when they say give it out? I'm one of the only content creators that said there's nothing credible about Zubimendi changing his mind at this particular moment. When a week or so ago, the news came out, maybe 2 weeks ago, that Liverpool made contact with Cherki, I didn't come on here and start saying, they're getting hijacked, it's over, Liverpool going to take him. That didn't happen. In fact, when United was seen as leading the race for the lap, but then the credible reports came out, said that his mind has changed to Man United. I didn't deny them, did I? Because the credible reports were there. So I love and respect you. You super chat a lot. But when you say I've got to give out what I dish, when have I been dishing this out? When have I come on here and made a claim that something is fact when there isn't even a credible story about it? When did I do that? When? Show me, especially in this transfer window. When have I done it? I haven't. So again, if Ornstein comes out there and says Mbeumo's changed his mind, I will change my mind on things. If Ben Jacobs says he's changing his mind, I'll change my mind on things. But that's all I'm stating is, and Staffy's done the same. We're not pressed because there's no indication the player has changed his mind yet. What it is, you're just desperate for United to get hijacked by Tottenham so you can laugh at us. But it's not happened yet. And in fact, this is what's really funny about it. It's why I'm entertaining the conversation even more. They say we get the here we go for him later on today. That means we've had a player reject Spurs twice in one summer for us based on your narrative. But you guys won't say that if we get in. You'll go straight back to it's only because you're paying him more money. So you lot are the ones who will not be objective in this scenario should and if and when we sign him. That's just my view. Welcome, Don, by the way. Thanks for joining us.
Man.
It's mad if Mbeumo is the new John Obi Mikel. Yeah, if he signs and holds that shirt and then joins Tottenham, I'd be shocked. I would.
The streets are saying that'll be 5-0. The streets are saying it'll be 5-0, Terry, man, if Spurs get him.
Listen, it might be. It might. But what I will say is this: is everyone bantering won't make
That's
a
funny.
prediction.
I'll give you that. That's
Because
funny.
they're too scared. They're too scared. They're too scared to give a prediction. They're too scared. I'm telling you. It's a
Let me
good.
guess, Lula just said he's gonna go Spurs, isn't it?
No. Lawless, he alluded to it, but he pulled back because he can't. No one. No
I
one.
said it's possible. It's
no one's
possible.
willing. No one is willing to say it. They're just not. They're too scared to say it. They're too scared to say it.
Lewis was the same guy who said we can't pull a Buemo anyway. So I think everything that he says with a grain of salt.
Whoa! I never said that.
Yeah, sure, man.
But that's also the motivation, Staffy. The motivation. Everyone who got that prediction wrong, that had to bend over and take it, is now like, oh, yeah, I can now say I was right. I can now say I was right if this happens. It's desperation because they got piped by Man United on that particular deal. That's all it is. It's all it is.